You now have 14 hours left to pick up Strange Supreme using the Spotlight key system before the weekly reset happens, and we also have the patch update, which is going to bring with it snap packs. There's another video on snap packs that I'll be releasing right after this one, but important things to know about snap packs and Strange Supreme specifically, and the card coming out tomorrow, Hydra Stomper. So this is how it works. The patch is happening before the patch is happening before the weekly reset happens. With the patch, we are moving away from the Spotlight system into Snap Packs. More details in Snap Packs, specifically in the video I'm releasing about Snap Packs. This is just about Strange Supreme and Hydra Stomper and how you have an option, two options with both of them, to get either one of them or both of them from the Spotlight system, or either one of them or both of them from Snap Packs. The patch is happening before weekly reset happens. So before weekly reset happens, which is 1 p.m. my time, so wherever your time zone is, right? When the weekly reset happens, the patch will happen before them. If you're able to be timely and update your game, either on Steam or your phone or however, update your game before weekly reset happens, you will have access to snap packs, and you can use your tokens that are going to convert to purchase Strange Supreme using snap packs. Remember, in that pool of cards for snap packs will include Strange Supreme, all the other cards previously released in the Spotlight week this season, and the cards released in the Spotlight week the season before that. And I believe the one before, I got to double check. I'm already getting confused. But you will have the option to pick up Strange Supreme using the snap packs. It will cost you 5,000 tokens. However, if you are not collection complete or you skipped on the other cards from the previous seasons, you may get a different card from Strange Supreme. So if you are interested in Strange Supreme, I actually believe that it's better to get him using keys, but more on that later. The other option you have, though, is with Hydra Stomper. Obviously, if you do the update, you will only have the option to get cards using snap packs. You will not ever be able to go back to Spotlights. In doing so, though, Hydra Stomper, which will be released at a weekly reset, you can get also with 5,000 tokens or targeted 6,000 tokens once the weekly reset happens and snap packs are released. Or you will have 48 hours where you can remain on the old system and pick up the Hydra Stomper, including Aranya and Madam Web, which are in that Spotlight week, before you are forced to update the game. So you'll have 48 hours, so until Thursday. You'll have until Thursday at weekly reset to purchase Hydra Stomper using the Spotlight system. So if you're interested in getting Madam Web or Aranya, that's a great way to do that because that is a more targeted approach than the snap packs is going to be for those cards specifically. Again, make sure if you want to do that, if you want to purchase Hydra Stomper or Aranya or Madam Web using keys, do not update your game. If you have auto update enabled on Steam, turn it off if you're using Steam on your PC. If you have auto update enabled in the Play Store or the App Store, make sure you have that turned off if you're worried about using Spotlights. If you're not worried about Spotlights, you're okay getting Hydra Stomper or skipping Hydra Stomper and you just want your snap packs, go ahead and update. But that is how things are working with snap packs. Again, I'll have a video about snap packs and explaining what cards are in each pack and how to prioritize them and how to target cards or those types of things. And a bunch of other videos I hope to create about snap packs coming soon. Let's talk about Strange Supreme. I also apologize that I have not made a video about Strange Supreme yet. I have one that I want to make if I can get it done, but work has been very busy. So I apologize for the lack of videos. It's just the way things have gone. So I appreciate if you are someone who is watching this video, especially after a week hiatus of videos, that means you're a true fan, and it genuinely means a lot to me. I know I say that in like every video, but I mean it. It really does mean a lot to me. But let's talk about Strange Supreme and the data that we have for him. This is the most data we've had for any card. It's also interesting because as I've been intending to get this out, I worked on this slideshow on Saturday, then I worked on it yesterday, and then I worked on it today. And each time the data has changed, it's actually gotten worse, believe it or not, for Strange Supreme, as the weekend missions have incentivized people to try and win with him, and people maybe have played him more also as they play over the weekend more anyway. And one of those ways that I mentioned this data has gotten worse is actually from all of these stats. These are all wrong. His popularity is actually up to 36%. His win rate is down to 50.1%, and his cube rate is down to negative 0.03 cubes. So super popular, extremely average win rate, and a negative cube rate. Again, like I mentioned, I worked on this yesterday, and since yesterday, these stats has gone down. It's probably been roughly about 24 hours since I worked on this, and the stats are already gone down. But what has my experience been with Strange Supreme? I did end up purchasing him with my keys. I really, really like the card. I rated him a 5-star card or a 5 question mark card in my keys decisions video, and I think he is a 5 question mark card. I did consider if he should have been like the 6 question, all right, the 6 out of 5 card that I was going to give for the season is like the best one. And I actually think that that goes to Goliath or Captain Carter with the change, but Captain Carter is a season pass, so I don't really include that. From the spotlights, I actually believe that it is Goliath. The potential for Strange Supreme, I think, is going to stay the same. He's actually, from my perspective, extremely balanced because he's susceptible to Shadow King. He's quickly susceptible to Shang-Chi with how good of a scaler he is. He could also pull cards that you need from key locations. He can really kind of screw you over with that. You also have to invest the energy into getting him to that cost, right? Oh, you see the screenshots where people have a 30 power Strange Supreme, and they're like, look at this. My 2 cost is at 30 power. Well, your 2 cost didn't cost 2. You had to play the cards that generated the cards, and you had to play the generated cards. So let's say he sucked up a demon, and that demon was created. Okay, well, you had to play the Hood for 1 energy, and then you had to play the Demon for 1 energy. So now that is a 4 costly card instead of a 2 costly, which obviously doesn't really matter. He's a 2 costly card that scales, and that's important. He's one of the best, but I think he's actually incredibly balanced, and so I don't think we are going to see many changes with him. He's also just an extremely fun card, and so I don't think that the second dinner would want to get the bad blood, so to speak, on their hands by messing with a card that people seem to really be enjoying. But I don't think he's totally broken. He can really mess up your play lines by sucking up cards that you don't want him to. Things can be a little bit awkward. Again, he's an easy target for Shadow King or Shang-Chi. And so, again, I think he's really, really good at 5 question marks. So moving on to the decks for this week, again, based off the data. So the sad news is that every single one of these decks have a lower win rate than you're seeing in these pictures that are included in the slide, but they're still generally, these are the best decks that have been performing for Strange Supreme. And as expected, you've probably played against it a ton, is Thanos. There are so many versions of the Thanos decks in Untapped. Again, these are all according to Untapped statistics. Strange Supreme is very, very good in Thanos. What's interesting is that I think the mirror match between Ongoing Thanos and Strange Supreme Thanos is Ongoing Thanos wins most of the time. That like Zoo style Ongoing Thanos deck, it's quite strong. It's really, really good. However, it's a little bit newer with Goliath, but fun deck here. Really, really strong deck. Also, I like the Thanos Wiccan package. Wiccan is pretty reliant on draws, good draws, and that's why I actually really like Crystal with Wiccan. But just a good deck. There's so many different versions of it. You can, obviously, this one has all of the tech cards in Cosmo, Red Guardian, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, and Copycat. The only thing that it's short of is Shadow King, right? But there's other versions that include a Shadow King. There's other versions that include Sasquatch. Like you have so many options in what you put in here. So it's a strong deck. Thanos is a great home for Strange Supreme. The next one we have, as can be expected, is a Clog deck. I like to call them junk. It's the same thing, Clog. I just call them junk decks. This is a pretty strong one. Again, there are multiple versions of it, but it is generally this shell that we were seeing specifically with Strange Supreme. There's someone in my Discord or Alliance in the Discord. They were sharing a junk deck that they play. Very, very different than this. It did not include Red Hulk. It did not include Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. But it's a really strong deck, strong archetype, and Strange Supreme fits really well in that, obviously. The next one we have is a Shauna Zoo deck, which is really cool. I had to go way down past all the Thanos decks to get to this one, which I thought this one was pretty good. It is kind of interesting that it is choosing to run the Marvel Boy and the Debris. I think that's a smarter choice over running something like a, what's her name, Dazzler, because those locations are going to unfill themselves with Strange Supreme. So overall, strong deck, and Zoo is always a great deck. Something interesting, a different project that I'm working on to trying to get some other content made is I recently restarted a new account in Marvel Snap. Not restarted, but created a new one. So I still have the old one on my collection level 12,000 or something. I have a new one that I've slowly been working my way through. And I'm collection level 313. I don't know if you can see that. I'm already at rank 65, is that what it is? Yeah, 65. Started at rank 0, and this season, just a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and slowly been working on my ranks. Anyway, I don't have a lot of cards, and I am countered pretty strongly. But the only deck that I'm able to play is a Khazar Blue Marvel deck, and it still does really well. I don't have any of these fancy cards in that situation. I don't have a Nico or a Debris or a Shauna or a Mockingbird or Gilgan. Like, the only cards from this package that I have is Squirrel Girl, Khazar, and Blue Marvel. Yes, I am playing against bots and players who are at a much lower collection level, so I'm not countered as much. I'm not going against these cards, but even with 3 cards of this like pretty high series deck, it still performs pretty well. Anyway, all that to say, Zoo is really, really good. And Strange Supreme in Zoo is still good because Zoo is good. The next one, I took out number 4 because... Next one says number 5 because number 4, the stats got so bad for it, I took it out. But number 5 is what I like to call a kitchen sink style deck. These are one of my favorites when you have, this one does not, but like the version of a kitchen sink deck that I like includes Hope Summers, Mysterio, Mockingbird, and Sasquatch. Especially if things go right, you can play Hope Summers on 3, you play Gwenpool on 4, you play Mysterio, and the version I play also includes Hawkeye K Bishop, so you play Gwenpool on 4, so now on turn 5, you have 6 energy, so you play Mysterio for 2, and Galacta, or you play Mysterio and an Acid Arrow and something else, and you're also playing those on Hope Summers, so you get a bunch of cards down. Your Sasquatch is super discounted, your Mockingbird is discounted, and you have a bunch of energy, and you can just dump the kitchen sink on turn 6, so that's why I call this kitchen sink, is on turn 6, you play a Kitty Pryde, and a Shang-Chi, and a discounted Mockingbird, and a discounted Sasquatch, and an Arrow from Hawkeye K Bishop, and a Kitty Pryde that's been buffed by Gwenpool, right? All of these things, and the kitchen sink. So that's where it gets its name. But it's like, this is one of my favorite decks to play. It's consistently really, really good. It's, if you know how to play it right, it does well. It doesn't go totally over the top. It's just like one of those like good, I hate using this term, but mid-range decks where it's just like, you know, you're not relying on like certain draws. It's just able to put out some pretty good power. And Strange Supreme is a good spot for that, with Mysterio being a pretty obvious pair with Strange Supreme. The next one we have is a Kitty buff deck, similar to that last one. This is a little bit more of that kitchen sinky where it has Hope Summers, but I thought it was fun that it was more like buff-based with Elsa Bloodstone, and then also cool to see Toxie. I chose this deck to include, even though the games played is pretty low, just because Toxie, why not include it? I thought this was a pretty cool deck to include with Toxie. Now, also, as we are on this last deck, to talk about Captain America, Sam Wilson, and Strange Supreme, right? So those seem kind of counterintuitive. Which one do you play on 2 if you have both of them? I think they're pretty smart, because if you do have Strange Supreme and Captain America on the board, and Strange Supreme doesn't suck up the shield, well, then keep moving around and buffing Sam Wilson, Captain America. If Sam Wilson, Captain America isn't on the board, you have no problem if Strange Supreme sucks up the shield. If you don't want Strange Supreme to suck up the shield, wait, play him on turn 4 and get 2 buffs on your Captain America before he sucks anything up, right? So I feel like it actually is a really, really good pairing. It's also nice that at minimum, Strange Supreme is going to suck up something, and he'll go to 5 power, so he'll be a 2/5 in case you don't get any other created cards down. I think they actually, while it may seem anti-synergistic, I actually think that they make a lot of sense together. So this is another good kitchen sink style deck, but more focused on buffs. Cool with Toxie. And the last deck is one that was recommended by TheExpesEffect. You commented on one of my videos. Thank you for commenting. I'm sorry to everyone who has commented on any video. I have a goal for this entire year to respond to every single comment left on all of my videos. It's actually a lot of work, believe it or not. And I'm going to achieve it, but I've been so busy with work that in addition to not making videos, I haven't had a chance to reply to your comments. I promise I will not forget you. I read every single one of them. They mean a lot to me. And I will reply, even though they're really late and it's not as helpful to you. I apologize, especially people asking questions about the decks. Believe me, when I lay in bed at night and can't sleep, I'm thinking about how I need to reply to your comment. You mean that much to me. You truly are that important, so I apologize. Anyway, TheExpesEffect, thank you for recommending this deck to me. When I kept trying to make a video about Strange Supreme this week, it just didn't line up, and this was the deck that I kept trying to make a video about. I was trying something different, an Athena package with Sentinel. Maybe I'll get to the video and I can talk about that more, but I just felt like this low-cost Strange Supreme as a low-cost scaler, this is one of my favorite types of decks. I've talked about and made videos about these decks many, many times. Saver IX, or is it IX? Yeah, Saver IX 27 was the original commenter that gave me something similar about this. It's a deck that's got me to infinite multiple times. I just love this style of deck, and this is a fun twist on it that includes Strange Supreme. I will say that the TheExpesEffect, their version had Cassandra Nova over Marvel Boy, as these decks frequently do. That's an incredible card to use. Really, really great value, especially with Thanos being everywhere. I just put in Marvel Boy because that's just my personal flavor. I really like Marvel Boy. I always look for an excuse to play Marvel Boy in these kind of low-cost decks, and where this one had more one cost than normal with Squirrel Girl, I was like, oh, here's my chance to play Marvel Boy, so that's why I include him. But you could go Cassandra Nova. Really, really phenomenal deck. I hope I have a chance to make a video about this before tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. maybe, because this deck is just that fun and genuinely that good. I wish I could give you some data, but again, I've been playing mostly on my phone because I don't have time to record, so I don't know. I have no idea what my stats are with this deck, but it has been good. I've been climbing with it. So with all that being said, in the short amount of time that you have to pick up Strange Supreme, do I think he is worth it? And absolutely yes, but wait, depending on your situation is what I would say. I think he's a pretty strong card. The great news is that we have Snap Pack coming, so even if you don't have keys, Second Dinner has revealed they are going to give us something in our inbox, a little bit of a celebration for Snap Packs. I think it'd be, I think it would be smart if they gave everybody one pull on every single Snap Pack available to them, right? So depending on your collection level and how many, if you're Series 3 incomplete, you get a pull on a Series 3 pack, a pull on a Series 4 pack, a pull on a Series 5 pack, a pull on a seasonal Series 4 pack, and a pull on a seasonal Series 5 pack. I think everybody should get one pull on every single type of pack. Just give people cards, right? That's pretty amazing. If they're at a higher collection level and they don't have those packs available, just give them tokens in place of that. Anyway, I don't know what's going to happen. We will have a blog post. We will actually have the inbox where we get whatever the reward or generous gift is, whatever you want to call it. But we will have Snap Packs nonetheless, whether you get gifted or not. Your keys will convert to tokens, and Strange Supreme will be in those Snap Packs. He will be in Snap Packs for the conclusion of this season and next season. I'll have, like I mentioned, a video about Snap Packs to make your decision. It is tough to know. If you have been all in this season and you've gotten all or most of the cards from this season, it probably makes the most sense to get him with Snap Packs. If you are not, if you have skipped most of the cards this season, it makes way more sense to target him with keys before Snap Packs roll out. So again, depends on how many cards you have from the most recent season, this one and previously. So now, trying to improve these videos, something I've wanted to add in for a long time. This is not supposed to say Strange Supreme. This is Hydra Stomper, obviously. As you can see, it's very late at night, and I'm unpolished trying to get this video out quickly. But I wanted to add these to the videos for a long time where I look at the card that's coming next week, talk about what thoughts I have about it, and this card coming next week is Hydra Stomper. His ability is ongoing, +1 power for each time one of your cards moved this game, and he has a 3 cost, 2 power. So really, really interesting move card that is going to make kind of a new move archetype and revitalize move as an archetype in some ways. Not in the same way that we expected Aranya or Madam Web to. I actually think they did. I just think move isn't a deck that most people want to invest their efforts into playing because you have to think more when playing move. And if you're not playing it right, it's not going to be able to put out the power. The interesting thing about Hydra Stomper is that the move deck requires combos. Everything about a move deck is a combo. Vulture does nothing unless you move him. So in order to get power from Vulture, you need Iron Fist, or you need Doctor Strange, or you need Ghost Spider, or whatever, right? You need those combo pieces. Hydra Stomper obviously needs those combo pieces because if you're not moving cards, he's not gaining power. However, depending on your card draw, it can be late, especially late turn and the state of the board, to move cards. Like you want to move Vulture, but you don't have an Iron Fist, or you already played your Iron Fist, so now you just have a 3 cost or a 3 power Vulture that's doing you nothing for you on turn 6. Well, Hydra Stomper isn't that. He's just ongoing power that you can add to the board. You can also do a lot of cool shenanigans with him. I think, again, as you can see, I've rated it 3 out of 5. Not the strongest, but I do think it is going to be strong for move, and I'm kind of interested, I'm very interested to try it. I think it's going to be really, really interesting with like a deck including most of the move cards that we've ignored. And this is someone who has played move bounce avidly. I love move bounce. It's kind of really fallen off for me lately, but I really, really enjoy move bounce. I don't think it's going to make sense in that because you'd rather be bouncing your cards than moving. Like he just doesn't fit in the curve there, and it's just like kind of awkward. I think this fits in a traditional move deck with Heimdall and Cloak and those types of things, but I also think it's going to be really interesting in with like Silk and Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Hercules, and Rocket and Raccoon and Groot, and Nightcrawler and Jeff, like those types of movers, Vision, whatever. Those weird movers is what I'm really, really excited to try, especially with Hercules. Hercules is a card. This is so stupid. I spent money on Hercules, on that. You know how the game gives you like for you offers? There's like a Series 3 or Series 4 or Series 5 card that you don't have with like some random amount of resources. And they're like the worst offers in the game. Like, don't buy those. If you want to buy a card, buy one of them that's with a variant. Those are way better value because these are like AI generated, automated offers. They're horrible. Anyway, the week before, like 2 days before Sam Wilson came out, and I was quite excited about Sam Wilson, I spent money on Hercules because I thought Hercules would be a super cool combination with the shield. And I have never played him. So I'm excited to finally get value out of Hercules. Hopefully. So anyway, I'm excited for Strange Supreme. I think, oh my gosh, I just read them. For Hydra Stomper, I think it's going to be quite fun. So if you made it to the end of the video, if you even watched this video, you mean the world to me, truly. I will reply to your comments, I promise. So anyway, snap packs are coming. A video explaining snap packs probably right after this. Anyway, thanks for watching. It means a lot.